it's me again, Maelle, body relationship and empowerment coach as well as self-love ambassador. So today's video is going to be about setting boundaries versus limiting yourself. Hashtag love yourself before you wreck yourself. So setting boundaries comes from a place, or at least it should come from a place of you wanting to tune into yourself and identifying what your physical, mental, and spiritual levels are in order to know where you can push them and where you should maybe be cutting yourself some slack. For example, I know that when I'm having a particularly challenging day, that may not be the best day to put myself out there to help other people. On the other hand, sometimes helping others is exactly what I need to do to get myself out of my funk. But when it isn't, it's very important that I'm aware of where I will be able to let go more and where I will need to set a clear boundary, not only for myself but also for others. And trying to help other people when you're not necessarily up to the task can be a recipe for letting yourself and them down. Boundaries are about giving yourself permission to not let fear or guilt or self-doubt pressure you into doing things. Whereas limiting yourself is more about letting those be the catalyst of why you do things. Limiting yourself comes more from a place of wanting to protect yourself, but based out of fear or self-doubt or guilt, and as opposed to it coming from a place of you wanting to protect yourself because you care about yourself and it's the healthy thing to do. Now, I'd like to say that fear is advantageous when you're in a situation where your life is in danger or as a learning tool. It's useful as a one-time thing though. It's like if it's something that happens and you have fear and so you react and it protects you, great. But ultimately, fear is an emotion that's based on worst case scenario. So fear ends up not really being a realistic approach from which to analyze situations from and try to establish clear boundaries. When you're afraid of what might happen, then you're making a decision based on what you don't want occurring, rather than trying to set a boundary, which is providing a space for what you do want happening to occur and be able to take place. When setting boundaries, it's really crucial that we're assertive about it, which doesn't necessarily mean we have to be aggressive. It can just be being very clear and saying something like, today I have to take care of myself, and what that may look like. And so that is establishing a clear boundary to better foment self-care and positive habits. It's really important to note that boundaries are not about controlling others or trying to keep others out. Mostly boundaries are about keeping yourself safe. As an example, when we set boundaries for children, such as don't run past the sidewalk or don't hit your sister, things like that, what that does is it's teaching them to exist in socially comfortable situations. And likewise, for us to set boundaries for ourselves, it allows us to keep being in socially comfortable situations. It's still a really great idea to always try and go a little bit outside of your comfort zone, because you never know what you're missing if you stay within those comfort zones, within the limits of what is familiar to you and what's comfortable and what's safe. Sometimes going a little bit outside that is also a really fantastic way of growing, because it teaches us that no matter where we are in a situation, we can always be inside of another situation and still be comfortable there. So being comfortable in the discomfort, I guess. Because of the whole being sensitive thing, I very quickly learned to establish my boundaries with other people. That being said, for a long time, what I thought were boundaries were actually limits. I was so afraid that I couldn't trust certain people that I was calling boundaries what were actually limits. And the way that you can figure out what it is that you're doing, if you're actually limiting yourself or actually setting a boundary, is going inside of yourself and figuring out what your boundaries are and why you came up with them. Is it because of fear, or is it a matter of wanting to really blossom within yourself and wanting to become and being comfortable enough to expand into who you are? Because that's what a boundary should be. It should not be stagnant. It's not walls, it's not a room, it's not a cell. It's a breathing thing in which you can grow with and expand with, that'll allow you to be who you really want to be and who you can be, not based out of fear, not out of being scared of what might happen, but more out of hope and trusting yourself. And that was today's quickie. I hope you enjoy it and apply it to your context in life, and that it'll super duper help you. Please comment below. I want to hear what's your opinion on boundaries and limits. When was the last time you were limiting yourself and thought it was a boundary? Express yourself. I want to hear it. I always love it. And in the meantime, have a fantastic Friday. It's a beautiful rainy day outside in San Miguel de Allende. Hope your day is beautiful as well. You're a magnificent creature, and I love you. Bye-bye. Have a great day. All my love.